What's growing on, gardeners? On today's 2-minute garden tip, I'm going to show you a weird mistake I made that nearly burnt my garden down. Let this be a warning to you. Earlier this year, I built all new raised garden beds here to grow my new season tomato crop in. And when I built the beds, I lined this whole area with weed barrier in order to keep weed pressure at an absolute minimum and prevent my roots from growing into my native sandy soil, which is full of root knot nematodes. One of the consequences of my humid subtropical climate here in the coastal Carolinas is our summers are so hot, they often kill my tomato plants. So I need to plant them as early as possible, as soon as all chance of frost and freeze has ended, so I can maximize my flowering and pollination while the temperatures are still mild. But sometimes a consequence of that is we can still have some chilly nights in the upper 30s, low 40s when I plant out my tomatoes. One of the ways that I deal with this is I cover the tomato plants in late March, early April, and sometimes I put these big 4-gallon jugs of water underneath the covers because they radiate heat at night and it keeps the plants a little bit more comfortable. And that worked like a charm. My tomato plants sailed through those few chilly nights in early spring, and I no longer needed the water jugs after those few early chilly nights, so I just lazily left them here for the last month thinking nothing of it. But the other day when I was doing my daily tomato inspections, I noticed something. My brand new weed barrier was full of holes. There are more holes there, and another big hole right there, and yet another big hole right there. My beautiful brand new weed barrier was already damaged. So I was thinking to myself, wow, this weed barrier must be junk. And I looked all around my garden and I couldn't find any damage anywhere else. And I'm thinking, what the heck was the cause of this damage to my brand new weed barrier? So I put my engineering brain to work, and what I discovered was downright scary. What was happening was these jugs of water were having a magnifying glass effect. Similar to how people used to take magnifying glasses and focus the sun to burn ants, that is what these jugs were doing. The sunlight would pass through these jugs of water and then it would focus that sunlight into a point source, and it was burning right through the weed barrier. And then as the sun transited across the sky, it was taking that focal point and it was burning rings into my weed barrier. That is downright scary. That is why that burn mark right there is in a semicircle pattern. Same thing with that burn mark right there. And it is the most evident right here. Because this jug of water sat in the sun the longest, it has the biggest burn ring in the semicircle pattern. The reason why this is so scary is we are in a severe drought right now. We've barely gotten any rain all year. I was very fortunate that these jugs of water were sitting on this weed barrier, and all it did was damage a little bit of this new weed barrier. But had these been sitting in a lawn or in dry grass or in one of these garden beds, it could have set something on fire. It could have caused a brush fire. I would have had no idea, and the whole garden could have burned, or worse. So I wanted to take a moment and share this mistake with you, because who even thinks of something like this? I know I didn't, but this simple mistake could have disastrous consequences. So you better believe I am draining all of these, and I'm putting these jugs back into my shed for storage for the winter. As for the holes in the weed barrier, I will just patch them with some electrical tape, and that should do a pretty good job. I've done that in the past with surprisingly good results. I'm just happy I learned this lesson the easy way, because this could have been a lot worse. And that's today's 2-minute garden tip.
If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon storefront and spread shop in the video description for a list of the gardening products I use and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated.